Once upon a time there was a man of between 30 and 82 years old. He used to get up in the morning and have a small breakfast. And after breakfast he'd put on a coat and he'd go wandering round for several hours through the trees and through the shrubs. And when he'd wandered round for several hours he'd wander back again to where he'd wandered from. He'd have a bit of lunch. And then he'd go out and start wandering about again. Wander, wander, wander. He'd go wandering o'er the hill and o'er the dale. That's where poets wander, is o'er the hill and dale. Other people wander over hill and dale. But not the poets, they go they go, they think it sounds better. Anyway, when he's wandered o'er the hill and o'er the dale, he comes back again for a bit of tea, and then he settles down for the evening till he falls asleep. It's not much of a life, is it? I can't see how anyone can bear to go on with it. It's such a mouldy time we all have. I've been looking at my diary. It's the most boring document I've ever seen in my life. I hadn't realised what a boring life I've been leading till I read my diary. It's unbelievably boring. It's probably the most boring book in the world. It should be given to school children as an examination subject. You listened to it. You wouldn't believe it. Listen to this. Monday. Got up, went for a walk, had lunch, went to lavatory, came out again, wrote up diary. Then the next day it reads, got up, went out, came in, went to bed. Didn't even go to the lavatory. Next day, got up, wandered round to see Spotty Muldoon. He wasn't in, wandered back, went to bed. It's not what you call exciting reading, is it? I think it's about time I started doing a few interesting things. It's time I found something out, like the secret of eternal life, the meaning of the universe, or how to get hold of women, or something. I've got a feeling I must do something important and amazing very soon. Perhaps if I grabbed hold of somebody in the government and threw them into the sea, that might be worth it. I must do something with my life. Something I'll be remembered for when I'm gone. Perhaps if I got hold of some bees and trained them to fly up people's noses. That might do some good. I could release them in the House of Commons, and every year people would burn effigies of me on Wisty night and dance round a beehive. There must be something memorable I can do before I die and leave this mortal coil on which we strut and fret our doleful ways, as Shakespeare put it, God bless him. Anyway, I've decided to go out and do something. If you read of C.P. Snow exploding in his bath, you'll know it's my work. God bless you all. I want to talk to you all about bees. They're lovely little creatures, bees, with little round, furry, smiling faces and lovely, cuddly little bodies. They fly about the place in such a cheerful way. Not like the horrid old wasp who goes glistening through the air with his horrible, hard, shining body all covered in stings. The bee is all furry and friendly. But you know that bees have a terrible time in life, because what they have to do is go round to every flower they can lay their hands on and poke their noses right into the middle, suck out as much nectar as they can get. Then they wipe their noses onto their legs, wipe them onto their legs and buzz back to the hive with this tiny bit of honey on their legs. They're not allowed to eat it themselves. It all has to be stored in the hive, and very gradually they build up enough honey for the winter. It takes thousands and thousands of bee hours to get it all together. And then when all the honey is in and all the flowers have died, a horrible old man in a veil comes along and steals it all away. The beekeeper takes all their honey away. Isn't that dreadful? And you know that none of the lady bees are allowed to have children. They're not allowed to have love affairs and babies. Only one lady bee is allowed to have love affairs, and that's the queen bee. It's a dreadful situation. All the other lady bees have to sit around twiddling their legs all day, while the fat old queen bee has all the love affairs. She's a beastly fat old thing, the queen bee. I shouldn't think many of the men bees really fancy her, but they're forced to go up to her and kiss her and everything. It's a dreadful life. Imagine what it'd be like if it happened to us people, if only the queen was allowed to have children. That's why all the bees look the same. They've all got the same mother. Of course, the worst thing about being a bee is your sting. Bees have got a sting in their bottom which God gave them to use against their enemies in moments of peril. The only trouble is that if they ever use their sting, they die. As soon as the bee uses its sting, it dies. It's an absolutely useless sting. I suppose God means them to use it on the deterrent principle, something which they must never use, but that will deter the enemy. I'd rather not have a sting in my bottom at all if it's going to kill me if I use it. I don't know why we weren't made like that. We could have been given special guns, which we could deter people with, but as soon as they used them, they'd fire in both directions, backwards and forwards, so you'd shoot yourself at the same time. That would put an end to all this violence in the streets. I wonder if bees know they're going to die if they use their stings. Poor old bees, they have a rotten time in life. I made a little rhyme about it, actually. It's called Ode to the Bee. Lovely little rhyme. If a lovely little bee should come and sting you on the knee, don't shout out resentfully, remember he will die. So when you see a little bee flying o'er the land and sea, don't shriek out in jealousy, he's worse off than you or I.